I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody did.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake.
Okay, well, he did eventually remove the post. It had been up for nearly 12 hours, but...
Guys, thanks so much for joining John Soto. This is Soto Cast. We are here, CNN, taking a look at the amazing news that Trump posted something that they're insulted by. And let's hear their outrage. Let's hear where it goes. You could tell by her face that she's not too happy.
He did remove it. And I want to warn before we show it to you that it is racist and offensive, but it's important to show because...
I want to warn. She's warning her audience. She's warning her audience that this is going to be so scarring to their inner psyche that, yeah, she's warning them.
This was posted on the official account of the President of the United States, right? This is what was posted there. You can see here the faces of the Obamas put onto bodies of apes. And his decision to take the post down came after the White House initially doubled down on the post itself. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, saying, quote, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and the Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Well, that was said, but then the backlash got loud. Republican Senator Tim Scott, the only black Republican in the Senate, came out calling it the most racist thing out of this White House. Ested Herndon and Andrew Yang are out front now. Pretty incredible, Ested, on a lot of levels. But it takes them 12 hours to take this down. At first, they say owning exactly what it was, not trying to say it was about voting machines, and I didn't see the part about the apes. They actually owned the whole part about the apes, and then still took it down.
Yeah, the initial response was to defend it, as it always is with the Trump White House. And then after the blowback started, we have seen these kind of further retractions. I mean, when I saw this morning, it is both shocking and not shocking at the same time, right? Like, at one, you have the reality of the President of the United States engaging in offensive racist behavior, but you also have a president who has had his whole political rise tied to those very same things. I mean, the origin story of Donald Trump is a racist conspiracy about Barack Obama. So, I mean, we cannot extract Donald Trump from the...
A racist conspiracy about Barack Obama. If you actually, and here's the thing, the conspiracy was promulgated by them. Like, I think Barack Obama was born in the United States and is a United States citizen. However, this is totally documented that the birth certificate that they released was altered, was doctored. That's indisputable. You can go back there and you can take a look and see it was a PDF file with layering in it that, you know. So that's one side. The other side is, I don't think he really gives a shit, right? Because you guys are trying to put him, his family, and everybody else that he knows in jail and take away everything that the guy's known for his entire life. You guys were literally trying to destroy him, and you're trying to say that he should be, sorry, even if it was insulting, even if it whatever. Like you guys are trying to put this guy in bars for the rest of his life and destroy his entire life and his entire family, and he's supposed to turn around. Like, I wouldn't say sorry for anything at that point. I would tell yourself every single day, go after yourself and say the most insulting things I possibly could to your face, and definitely not going to get an apology from me.
Trail of racism that he has left or encouraged. But I think this reflects a White House that is increasingly at a credibility loss too. They are putting their officials out there, Caroline Leavitt included, and whether it's Minneapolis or whether it's Trump's health or whether it's this video, they're increasingly asking the public to not believe what's in front of them. And I think that has contributed to Donald Trump's increasing unpopularity with the electorate.
So, Andrew,
this is a big problem with CNN when they put somebody out like this in front, talking about Trump's health, talking about, again, just the stupid racist narrative. Like, they're really only talking to boomers at this point. They have to be only talking to maybe 65 and up, the couple people that watch the show. However, this is what makes it out into the ether. This is what makes it out into because this will be retweeted. This will be put in other places that it will get some other eyes. But for the most part, I mean, pretty irrelevant at this point.
The White House obviously now trying to blame it on a White House staffer. Okay, which, I mean, there's so much irony in that. You could take the Rob Reiner post. You could take so many posts that they actually haven't even tried to blame on a staffer, right? That he goes ahead and posts his own stuff that I don't know anybody thought was okay. In this case, Trump allies are calling to fire the staffer. Bill O'Reilly said you got to fire the staffer right away. Pastor Mark Burns, after speaking with Trump, says my recommendation to the president was direct and firm. The staffer should be fired immediately, and the president should publicly condemn this action, which he didn't do, right? He said he didn't make a mistake. But a source familiar with Trump's social media, as I said with Rob Reiner, he posts on Truth Social all the time by himself. He posts in the middle of the night by himself, right? So suddenly in this case, it's not. This one somehow upset enough people that he's going to put the fig leaf up.
Yeah, the backlash was truly bipartisan, which is something of a rarity in today's politics. I agree with Ested. Aside from how vile and disgusting the video was, the first thing that came to mind for me was distraction, because the actions of ICE in Minneapolis, wildly unpopular, even with many people who voted for Donald Trump. This week, a job report came out saying that it was the worst January for people looking for jobs since 2009.
It's 17 years.
Yeah, and so I thought to myself, okay, this is Trump throwing something out there to change the news cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think there has been speculation that he has done that before. We know that that's his instinct, is to like get it back on his terms. I just think even as they lurch at some of their more familiar topics, be it social stuff or driving what they used to call wokeness or fighting against that. This isn't that.
This is way beyond that. A very, very bad.
And so I'm saying even
miscalculation.
The biggest problem with it is that, you know, obviously the clip is taken out of context. Listen, it's not even the worst part about it is that it's not funny. It's kind of like a boomer AI thing where it's like, you know, the lion. We've all seen it. It's the Lion King and Trump is Simba or whoever, the big lion, and everybody else is like, I think Harry Sisson's on it. There's a bunch of people that are like portrayed as the animals in the animal kingdom, and it just so happens that there was a short clip of Michelle and Barack as apes in the very beginning of it, and you know, it got caught up in the mix. It was like whatever. Like somebody was flipping through the Twitter account, and it, you know, it was at the very end of the video. So I think it's like a 1 minute long video. Is at like 3 seconds or whatever it was. This is gonna die right away. They're gonna try to hold on to it as long as they can. It's so, I don't even know what to say. Like it's just tiring how predictable this stuff is at this point.
as they try to draw.
If you're still here, please subscribe. Just subscribe. That's all I ask. Hit the little subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. Don't have to like. Don't have to share. Don't have to comment. Don't have to do any of that stuff. Just subscribe, please. Thank you.
All Democrats into culture wars. I think they have miscalculated the moments in which Donald Trump goes way beyond that. The Rob Reiner post is one of that. I think this post is another.
Yeah, exactly. Like he saw the Rob Reiner post was one of that. Did somebody that I don't know? Can you find me one person? I'm just putting this out there. Can you make this go super viral? Find me one person that changed their mind about Donald Trump because of the Rob Reiner post. Just one. Find me one. It's gonna be the same with this. It's gonna be the same with this. Yeah. So some people say, yeah. That wasn't a good post. So you'll find some people to say that the post that the specific post they didn't like, they thought it was bad, they thought it was horrible. They can go all the way and say, you know, it's the most racist thing they've ever seen in their entire lives. Is that going to change how what they think and how they vote and what they view and their views on Trump? That's the question.
Yeah, worse.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rob Reiner post didn't get this much from Republican senators, and you had administration allies coming out and saying, fire this guy, apologize immediately.
Joining me now is Harvard University professor and former NAACP president Cornell William Brooks. Professor, the president is saying in furtherance of a lie about voter fraud in Georgia, of which there was not, which is just something he endlessly repeats like a guy in a bar late at night, he posted or approved the posting of this meme. What do you make of his explanation and how the White House has kind of come up with various explanations throughout the day?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, the current investigation into the Georgia election, I just love how, you know, Anderson Cooper just says, yeah, there was no fraud. Okay, it's funny because like they always delineate and they always say allegedly. They always throw a quantifier when it comes to everything, except for when it comes to something that's not on their side. So when it comes to something like saying that voter fraud in Georgia, they just definitively say there was none, period, full stop. Nothing to quantify the statement. But when it comes to anything else, it's always allegedly, possibly, you know, I believe, like whatever. There's always a quantifier and everything else, other than when it comes to something that's anti-Trump.
Make of the president's explanation is that it is neither an explanation nor an excuse. We have seen from this White House shifting narratives, the president taking responsibility for posting that which the White House denied and that is subsequently attributed to a young staffer. So in other words, we have shifting narratives, apparent lies, and the president not taking responsibility for his actions and the consequences of it. Anderson, we need to really be clear here. The president was drawing from a deep, toxic well of racist tropes going back to at least the 1850s with scientific racism. This notion that Black people are most closely related to apes and gorillas and simians, such that they are subhuman and sub-citizens. And since this president has called into question President Obama's birthplace and his legitimacy, credibility as a citizen, this is true to form. So in other words, this is incredibly offensive. It is not entirely new.
Well, it's interesting. You are right. It is also interesting that he doesn't say, had I seen this, I never would have done this. This is, terrible. These images are sickening. And I would never post something like that. And it's interesting to me that I guess he views it as a sign of strength, his refusal to ever apologize, his refusal to admit.
He cannot apologize to you guys. Why don't you understand that? You guys tried to put him in jail. You guys tried to take away everything from this man. You tried to murder him. There was attempts on his life because of how you've portrayed this man over the past decade. You want him to apologize for anything? Honestly, there's not a chance in hell. You're lucky he's not turning the DOJ on every single one of you guys and trying to get all you guys locked up at this point. I mean, it's a little wild that the very few arrests that have happened, high profile arrests that have happened, there should be way more of them. And all the faux outrage whenever somebody else gets locked up or indicted that, was loving to get his mugshot, was loving to do his 90-something indictments, was loving to go and just, get the image of him sitting in court in front of a judge. That's all they wanted. That's all they got. That's all they craved. And it was all bullshit. But how dare he turn it back and say, you know what? Here's a little bit of taste of your medicine. You want him to apologize? There's not a chance in hell he would apologize for anything, no matter how wrong he is. He can't do it. I wouldn't do it in his situation. Never. Absolutely not.
Admit that he made a mistake. It seems to me, the ultimate sign of weakness, that he's so afraid of being seen as making a mistake that he can't admit it when he does.
Well, the thing is, it's a sign of weakness in two respects.
Because I'm sure you guys would say, oh, you know what? We accept your apology. That would be the statement out of them, right? You know what? He made a mistake. No problem, guy. Just he didn't do anything wrong to begin with, and you guys arrested him. So where does that leave him? He doesn't have an out.
There's a weakness with respect to admitting a wrong and taking responsibility, but there's also a weakness with respect to his inability to resist this racist impulse to demean, to degrade, to belittle Black people generally and the country specifically. And what I mean by that is this president seems to think that he is merely insulting the Obamas and Black people when he, in fact, is also insulting his supporters. What do we mean by that? He seems to believe that his base and white Americans can be so rage-baited and race-baited that they will forget high grocery prices or unaffordable homes or a White House that is in absolute chaos. So in other words, he calls into question the humanity, the intelligence and character of Black people, but he also calls into question the intelligence and conscience of white people. And so,
and that was a very good pivot. And again, I give people credit where credit is due. So, what he's doing in that scenario is just like a lot of people doing in many scenarios when it comes to economic and the hardships that people are facing. You have to understand, he he just made 1 year. He just made 1 year. Like, you're talking about turning around a how many $1 trillion economy. That thing doesn't spin on a dime and start heading the opposite direction. You're not Tokyo drifting the United States economy into a turn and turning it around 180 degrees and start heading it back in the other direction. It takes a great deal of time. When you look at the stock market hit all-time record today, when you look at inflation at an all-time low, when you look at unemployment, granted the numbers were low, but the unemployment rate as a whole is pretty much essentially full employment. When you look at all of these factors added up, that doesn't mean that the average person right now is going to feel much better in the short term. But long term, down the road, within the next 18 months, I absolutely think that everyone's going to start seeing their wages to inflation rate being in the positive. And that's something that, may not be here in time for the midterms. It is what it is. The Dems may take over and just stymie all growth and happen. It's one of those things that you can't turn it around on a dime. Hopefully the Supreme Court doesn't rule against him when it comes to the tariffs. But we shall see, guys. Thank you so much for joining. 6283 Talk is me on the X. If you want to comment, if you want to share, that's all cool. But my main thing for as of right now is just subscribe. Subscribe. Thank you so much for all the new subs. I'm really getting a lot of attention, and it's a lot of fun. See you on the next video, guys. Take care.